Hello out there. Just waiting for people to join on this beautiful Tuesday. It's nice and sunny for now, but we're inside with an activity you can actually do outside if you decide to do that. And I'm starting to see some people get the notification and hop on. Send us a quick message to let us know who's watching. I see John and Lilette. And I see some other people joining us. Now I'm just grabbing this video so that I can post it in the event page. Hi, Lilette. Good to see you. Thanks so much for coming out again today. Hi, Ezra and Audra. So good to see you guys again, virtually. I hope everyone's hungry, or if you're not, you're going to be after this workshop, because today we're going to be making menus for new restaurants that we're creating in our imagination. It's already making me hungry just looking at some of the sample menus I printed out. So if you're joining us today, hi Itzella, how are you doing today? Good to see you. Hi Cecilia, good to see you again too. So for today's workshop, the main materials you're going to need are a pencil or writing implement, some form of coloring materials if you want to decorate your menu. So I like to use colored pencils, but markers or crayons are fine too. And the printout or download of the instructions. And if you're not able to print it home, that's okay. We have a template for the menu that we're going to be talking about in a little bit. But you can also just make your own with a blank sheet of paper or construction paper and just give it your sections and make it yourself. Hi there, everyone. Okay, so for everyone who's here, welcome to Spells Writing Lab. My name is Ms. Liz. We are doing these virtual workshops every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 11 a.m. At least through part of May. I'm still determining the end date of those, but we're also looking into what we're going to do for summer camp, whether it's going to be some version of an in-person camp or more likely these days a virtual camp. So if you haven't already and you want to have your voice heard about what you'd be looking for in summer camp this summer, go to our Facebook page and find the link to the Google Docs survey, the Google Forms survey that we're doing to try to find out what families are looking for summer programming in these unique circumstances. So definitely share your opinion there. Again, it's on our Facebook page. After this, I'll pin it to the top of the page so that it's easy to find. So today, we're going to be creating our own menus. Now, how many of you guys are like me? You know, sometimes you just really like going to your favorite restaurant and having the delicious food cooked by a professional chef. But you also sometimes like to cook at home or eat your family's cooking. And I've always thought to myself, like, oh, it'd be kind of fun to have a restaurant. Well, it's a lot of work to open a restaurant. So what we can do is we can actually create restaurants using our minds, our imagination. So Dr. Spells has always had a great appreciation for food, but he's kind of getting bored with, the options and being stuck at home. He's looking for some ideas of what types of foods he could eat. So he wants to see kind of what you guys like, what kinds of restaurants you would open if you had your opportunity. You can serve whatever you want. So what are you going to offer? You're going to think about, is there a specific type of food? Do you want to have a really unique restaurant that only does something like ice cream? Oh, it's Al, you're hungry. That's funny. And hi, Mika. I see that you showed up. So your job is to create a restaurant And then once you've decided on what kind of restaurant you're going to have and what types of things that restaurant will serve, you're going to create a menu that has 6 items on it. It's at least 6. It's going to have 2 appetizers, so starting dishes that we eat, the small dishes we eat before we eat our main food, 2 main courses, and then 2 desserts. Now, if you decide on doing something that's like, maybe it's a restaurant that only serves dessert, maybe be creative and think of like, could you offer different types of things? Could you offer maybe the main dishes are things that look or simulate a traditional savory main dish, but are made out of sweets? A good example of that might be something like a Nutella pizza. So it's still a dessert, it's still sweet, but it's in the form of a pizza, so it seems like it's a main dish. So think about what kind of restaurant you want to have. Once you've decided on what kind of dishes you want to include, think about how you can spice up your menu items. Now I want to give you guys a couple of examples that I printed out from Philadelphia area restaurants. I know, I'm getting hungry too. Thankfully after this is over, it's going to be close to lunchtime. So one restaurant is an Italian restaurant called Little Nonna's, and you can see they actually have little illustrations in their menu. And they serve a lot of things you would expect at a Italian restaurant. They have what they call antipasti, like salad, insalate, and plates. These are all appetizers. So appetizers might be things like they have, you know, some meatball, like a meatball you can have, some garlic bread. They have different types of salads. But they don't just have like regular salad. They have really interesting salads. So think about when you're creating your dishes, make sure that they are a little like, they sound fancy. Even if they're kind of regular, think about like, how can you spice them up a little bit? So for example, instead of having a regular salad, they have a shaved Brussels sprout and speck salad. Now speck is basically similar to like bacon or ham. It's a very thin, similar to prosciutto, it's a very thin kind of ham type of cut. And so this is one where they've basically fried up that speck to make it crunchy. So instead of just having like a regular salad with some bacon on it, they decided to do a shaved Brussels sprout and speck salad with fennel and Napa cabbage and Honeycrisp apple. So they don't even just say it has apple on it. They are very specific about what type of apple it has. Because Honeycrisp apples are known for being very sweet and very juicy, and people really love them. And so they're, instead of just saying it has an apple on there and people don't know if it's just going to be like a Red Delicious, they're very specific and say it has a Honeycrisp apple. They also say it has toasted hazelnuts and Parmesan. So again, they don't just say it has cheese on it, they tell you exactly what type of cheese. So when you're thinking about your restaurant and your dishes, you want to be really specific in the descriptions, because that's what's going to make a person say, ooh, that sounds interesting. That sounds like something I can't make at home, right? Even their spaghetti and meatballs dish right here, it says Nani's spaghetti and meatballs. So for one thing, it has a special name to it. It has the name, like I guess it's probably a grandmother nickname. And it has beef, veal, and pork fontina stuffed meatballs. So they're not even just regular meatballs, they're stuffed with a really great cheese. It has braised pork marinara, which is the sauce. So again, they don't just say and sauce, they say with braised pork marinara, Parmesan, and basil. I know, I see a bunch of hearts going up there. You're probably as hungry as I am to eat that meatball. Or whatever type of similar dish that you would eat that might be, if it's vegan or vegetarian, but oh my goodness, it's making me hungry to eat Italian food. So another menu I printed out as an example is from Franklin Fountain, which is one of my favorite ice cream places in the city. There's several ice cream places I love, but I always love the menu at Franklin Fountain. So for one thing, their ice cream flavors over here. Let me see if I can do this. Oh yeah, that's better. Their ice cream flavors, you can see even their chocolate has a description. I see a lot of hearts for the Franklin Fountain ice cream. So they have caramelized banana. They have chocolate, but the chocolate doesn't just say chocolate, right? Like normally you go to a ice cream place and you say, oh yeah, I'll have chocolate. And it's just regular chocolate. But this chocolate is described in a way that makes it sound extra exciting. It's chocolate made with Dutch cocoas, rich and dark. So you see how they added that detail in those descriptions. So that doesn't just sound like chocolate ice cream that you're getting out of the freezer at your house, right? It sounds like a special chocolate that maybe you need to try. I know, I love that place too. Another thing, they also think about having dishes that maybe would appeal to people who are not, who can't eat certain things. So they actually have a vegan like a vegan flavor. So that's for someone who can't eat dairy. So they specify that they make the ice cream out of coconut cream, tapioca syrup, organic cane sugar, and Hydrox cookies, which are kind of like Oreos. They're like the earlier version of Oreos. So maybe think about, are there specialty menu items you want to put on there for people with food allergies or who have chosen to limit their diet in some way? And just think about that. So you might think like, oh, maybe I'll have one meat main dish and maybe I'll have one vegetable one vegetarian one. Or maybe you have a vegetarian appetizer. Maybe you make sure that one of your desserts is vegan friendly or is good for people who are allergic to nuts. So maybe think about doing some of that when you're creating your menu. Another place that I thought this menu is great, especially when you're thinking about naming your dishes. We talk in the instructions on the page about maybe you want to like make your dish sound even more exciting by giving it a cool name. So even if it's mac and cheese, maybe it's Aunt Beth's famous smoked mac and cheese, which makes it sound like way more exciting, right? So there's a restaurant, a brunch place called Honey's Sit and Eat. And their menu has things like Bubby's Brisket Breakfast, which is 2 eggs your way, potatoes, toast, and brisket. And that sounds like a normal thing you would have at a brunch place, but by calling it Bubby's Brisket Breakfast, it makes it sound like it's an old family recipe, right? It's like your grandmother's old family recipe that you're sharing with people in your restaurant. So naming it after people in your family or famous people could be a great way to kind of make that connection and get people excited. Another example is they have a biscuit sandwich with buttermilk biscuits, fried eggs, veggie sausage, country gravy, and potatoes, and it's called Jeb's Open-Faced Biscuit Sandwich. Now, I don't know who Jeb is, but he sounds like he made a great sandwich, right? Oh, I know, I love Honey's. So you think about, like, again, even if you don't know who those people are, it makes you feel like there's something special about it because it's like an old family recipe. So think about if there's something that you're putting on your menu that you want to give a good name to. Some of them are kind of traditional names. So they have things like Toad in a Hole, which has a funny name, but is a traditional dish where they basically take a piece of bread and cut a hole in the middle and put the egg in the middle. So you might think about doing things like that, like using some names of dishes that are really identifiable, but also maybe giving your dishes their own names. So those are just a couple of the menus that I pulled out as examples. So like I said, a lot of times restaurants will add or combine ingredients in their dishes. So for example, instead of just having a mac and cheese, they might say, okay, what would be like the most decadent, most amazing flavor to put on top of that mac and cheese? Maybe it's Bubby's brisket. Maybe it's, lobster. Maybe it is like pulled pork. I don't know. Maybe it is like some amazing vegetable. I don't know. So you might think about what might elevate or make your dish that much more enticing to someone so that it's something that they can't make at home. So like I wouldn't recommend putting something like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, just plain, unless you're going to elevate it and make it really unique and something that someone wouldn't have thought about. Maybe you're going to add things to it that people wouldn't think of making from home. Maybe you're making an unlikely ingredient to a popular dish. So I know when I was a brownie Girl Scout, one of the things we did was we made little pizzas on English muffins. And they had this whole range of toppings and we got to put whatever we wanted on it. And when I was about 7 or 8 years old, I thought it would be a fantastic idea to put peanut butter on my pizza, on my little English muffin pizza. And I was so proud of my peanut butter pizzas. And I made those peanut butter pizzas and I ate them and I bragged to everyone about them. So that's an idea of something like where you could take a dish that normally doesn't have that flavor on it and maybe there's something that you really enjoy and you think it'd be really good with that flavor on it. Another example is that Nutella pizza I was talking about earlier. Another pizza where you could put something that you would never expect to find on a pizza, right? Nutella, that delicious hazelnut chocolatey spread. That's definitely sweet and desserty. It's something that I put like on toast when I want it to be sweet. I can put it in crepes. I put it in all sorts of things. don't normally think of it on pizza, but if you put it on pizza with maybe a little sweet like ricotta cheese on top, oh my goodness, it's so good. But that's something that you might not expect. So think about, are there any like dishes that you could make and you could really make them unique by putting some unusual ingredient on there? Again, that's how you're going to entice people to order that off your menu. Maybe you can combine two of your favorite foods. I know that a friend of mine moved to Italy, and her kids, they were going down to the local pizzeria. Now, obviously, pizza is not really that common in Italy. So what's funny is that menu was very Americanized, even though it's in Italy. And so they have all of these crazy pizza toppings. Hi, Layla. Good to see you. They have all these crazy pizza toppings, and they're all these things that like even Americans would never think of putting on there, but it's like regular American food. So it'd be like a Philadelphia cheesesteak pizza. It'd be like, a hamburger pizza. It's all these like American foods made into a pizza. I don't know why all of my examples are pizzas, but they are. Maybe that's what I need to eat for lunch. So think about like, is there something funny that you could kind of like combine or switch up for your pizza? So once you've decided, I know I'm still hungry too, Etzella. I'm totally gonna go make lunch right after this workshop. So once you've figured out what your restaurant's theme is, so again, like Franklin Fountain's theme is ice cream. And if you want to do something, there are ones that are known for doing small plates. There are places that are known for doing different types of food from different countries. Maybe you want to do, there's even like restaurants that are known for just making waffles or just making like cereal, things like that. So think about what your theme of your restaurant's going to be, choose it, and then it looks like someone's going to make pizza. And then you're going to think about what dishes you could put on your menu. Like, think of it like maybe your menu's longer, and feel free to like go on the back and add more to your menu. But think about what are kind of your signature dishes. Those dishes that everyone, when they hear them, they know it came from your restaurant. So think about those types of things. And then write really great descriptions of them. So like we were saying, give them a really great name. Don't just list off the ingredients on a dish. Like when I was reading this, we were saying like some of these are things like Honey's Cristo, which is basically kind of similar to like a ham and grilled cheese sandwich, right? It's a Monte Cristo sandwich, but they do Honey's Cristo, has challah French toast, so that's a very specific type of bread made into French toast, stuffed with Lancaster County double smoked ham. So they didn't just say ham, they said Lancaster County double smoked ham. That's 5 words to describe it. And Swiss cheese topped with 2 sunny eggs, side salad. So think about like making sure you add all those details. Like tell us, maybe you could say exactly where your ingredients come from. Maybe you could describe it in more detail, just like we did with just like Franklin Fountain did with the chocolate. So you can see in the instructions some of the examples, like if you're making an ice cream sundae, you might want to say, instead of just saying the different things that are on it, maybe make it sound really enticing. A fudgy brownie fresh out of the oven, topped with 2 scoops of creamy vanilla ice cream, right? Drizzled with hot fudge sauce with a maraschino cherry on top. So think about, you're not just creating a grocery list, you're trying to get people to actually order your food, right? So make sure that you use like some verbs like topped, drizzled, garnished, like any of those great like words that describe how food is prepared. And adjectives like the fudgy and creamy, things like for pizza, since we keep talking about pizza. I know, I'm making everybody want pizza today. I'm sorry. I'm making myself want pizza. Maybe there's an adjective like, rich cheese. You can include things like handmade, or like the example I just showed you about where exactly your ingredients come from. Use expressions like the only place that serves, or the best in the state, or the famous food, right? You want to like be your own hype man, right? Or woman, or whatever. Like hype up your food. Hype up be your own hype restaurant, Now that you've come up with your menu, once you've come up with your menu items and know how to describe them properly, you're going to think about filling out your menu form, right? So at the top of the page, and again, if you can't print this out, that's totally okay. You can make one that probably even looks better than this just using a plain sheet of paper. I don't know why I'm talking with my pencil. So up at the top where it says welcome to, that's where you're going to put your name of your restaurant. Now, one thing is we didn't talk about that. You might want to name your restaurant to fit your theme. So you might have come up with the name of your restaurant right away. If not, think about a really great theme. Ooh, wow, mac and cheese with graham cracker crumbs sprinkled on top. That sounds really interesting. I kind of want to, that sounds like an interesting combination of sweet and savory. I always like that combination. I may have to try that sometime. So yeah, so think about the name, think about giving your restaurant a really great name and make the title big and eye-catching. And now, again, think about some of the names of the restaurants we talked about. Honey's Sit and Eat, right? That is like, that really kind of makes you think like, oh, this feels kind of like a diner. Like it feels nice and, you know, homey. The name of this restaurant, this pizza restaurant, is Nomad Roman. Now, nomad means that you go from place to place, and they named their restaurant Nomad or Pizza originally because they didn't have a brick and mortar restaurant. They did not have a building at first. They literally had a pizza truck, and they would drive around with this great like wood-fired pizza oven on the back of the truck, and they would make pizzas wherever they went. Eventually, they started actual restaurants, and so they still kept that name, Nomad, because Nomad means moving from place to place. Franklin Fountain, they don't have their name on the top of this menu, but even that, you can see it has the symbol of Pennsylvania. We've got, like, Franklin Fountain. It's named after Benjamin Franklin because they're an old city where Benjamin Franklin lived and worked. So they wanted to honor that history because their ice cream is all about kind of historical flavors. Even like the Oreo, the cookies and cream is really Hydrox cookies because those were before Oreos were invented. So thinking about like they wanted to honor the past. If you've ever noticed, they even like kind of wear the place is decorated kind of old-fashioned. They wear kind of old-fashioned ice cream costumes. Even the guys who run it have like these crazy old-school handlebar mustaches. So they're really into that kind of old-school thing. The Italian restaurant we were talking about earlier, Little Nana's, again, gives you that feeling of like you're going into their family. You're eating their family recipes. So they named it with a very specific feeling to make you feel like you were going to Sunday supper at a family with Italian heritage's house. So think about how to name your restaurant. Write it up here. Make it nice and decorative, right? Just like, you know, you see the Honeys, it's got like this cool typeface so it really stands out. You may not be able to do that, but still you could put it in like block letters. You could color it with markers or colored pencils. Make it really eye-catching. Then start filling out your menu items. So you can see we have the appetizers. Those are those smaller dishes that we start with. They might be things like salads, bread, like little smaller dishes that aren't going to fill people up all the way. And there's room for pictures if you want to draw some of your menu items. And we have up here, we have like the spot for the name of them. So the dish name, and then there's a $sign. And after that $sign is where you can put how much you're charging for your food. So we didn't talk about that, but all these restaurants, they charge, you know, they have money, they have how much the item costs on their menu so that way people know. They don't get the bill and have like sticker shock. Oh my gosh, how much did it cost? Then when you do your main items, same thing, main course. Those are the two items that are the bigger, heavier dishes. Those are like your main meal. It has the same layout with the name of the dish and then the $sign for the food. And then you get to dessert and you can put a really great appetizing picture, which I hope you will send us because I really want to see the desserts that you create. And room for 2 desserts. And again, if you want to add more on the back of the page, you could also print out more copies of this template if you wanted to add more to your menu, or you could do it on a separate sheet of paper. A couple of ideas. After you've created your menu, if you liked this activity, here's an idea of how to continue it. You could share your menus with your family and see what they would like to order. You could create your menu items with stuff around your house. So I know last summer at camp, we did a pop-up restaurant where the kids ordered off of a menu, but when we delivered the food, it was all made out of household items and things like grass. So instead of salad, they got grass. Instead of spaghetti, they had yarn with something like with some red yarn on top to be the tomato sauce. We had like one of our summer staff actually made little tiny sushi out of construction paper. So think about maybe how can you make, like, could you make the meals that you created, and then you could even like take pictures of them and make your menu look really jazzy. After you create these, I would love to see them, because not only am I hungry, but I'm also kind of bored thinking of what to cook in my house and what to order. So think about, like, maybe share it with us. Maybe take a picture of one of your menu items or your menu, or maybe just shoot us a note in the comments to let us know one of your things. Ooh, ice cream pie, Itzella. And see, Itzella, I would love to know more about, like, what are the details of that ice cream pie, because I love ice cream, but I don't like chocolate ice cream. So I'm kind of curious as a restaurant patron to know, is this ice cream pie going to be something that I want? Is it going to be flavors that I want? So I love that idea of an ice cream pie, and I would like to know more about what it actually is. And since you've already mentioned I think it was you who mentioned graham crackers, I wonder if it's going to have a graham cracker crust, because that would be really yummy. But yeah, so, you know, definitely share some of your ideas with us. We would love to experience the flavors of your restaurant virtually, and Dr. Spells would love to see some of them. Ooh, so here we have, my dessert is a chocolate cake with Oreo crumbs and a drizzle of caramel and hazelnut. That sounds really, really yummy. Ooh, and I like the fact that I can choose the flavor of the ice cream pie, because like I said, I happen to not like chocolate ice cream. I know, I'm strange. I just don't like chocolate ice cream or chocolate milk. But I love chocolate pie. I love not chocolate pie. I love ice cream pies, or pies that are the consistency of that. Ice cream cake I love. But I actually I think I would like it better with pie, because I feel like the pie would actually keep the ice cream in better than an ice cream cake where it all just starts melting from the bottom. I feel like a pie would actually, the crust would actually help keep it in. So very good idea. Any other menu items anybody wants to share with me to make me even hungrier than I already am? These are going to be some great restaurant menus. I may have to figure out how to make that one with the caramel drizzle. I'm a sucker for a caramel drizzle. Ooh, multiple flavors too. That's one of my favorite. I love, when I go to an ice cream place, I like finding two flavors that actually work well together to make like one experience, because when it starts melting together. Ooh, a cherry sundae. Ooh, and definitely when you're describing your cherry sundae on your menu, definitely make sure and, you know, explain, like, give me some great descriptive words to tell me about what exactly the cherry sundae is going to have. You know, are there other things on it? Are there other flavors in it? I tell you what, I'm definitely going to need an early lunch after this workshop. You guys are making me hungry. All of you young writers are coming up with some great menu items that sound really delicious. Ooh, Ezra, Mexican food. That sounds good. I like that idea. Ooh, Audra, a sweet shop. And I would love to see how Audra decides, if she's having a sweet shop, how would you think of doing an appetizer or a main dish versus a dessert, right? So think, what kinds of sweets could you do as your main dish? That would actually be really good, because I would love to go someplace where my main meal was actually dessert. Ooh, ice cream pie with mint. I like that idea too. Banana and chocolate ice cream with cherry sauce. Ooh, I don't even like chocolate ice cream, and that still sounds good, because I love me some bananas. That sounds really good. And banana and chocolate do go really well together, I have to admit. I made some crepes a week or two ago, and I made them with bananas and Nutella, which also has like that chocolatey flavor, and they were really, really good. So that banana and chocolate ice cream sounds like it'd be really yummy. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your ideas and making me super hungry and giving me ideas for what to cook for lunch. Clearly, I need to make some kind of pizza and maybe eat some kind of ice cream pie for dessert. I don't know if I can do that, but I may have to try to figure out how to make an ice cream pie now that all of you guys have these like amazing ideas for it. So definitely, if you get more ideas after we log off, you can add them in the comments. We'd love to see them. And thank you so much. And we will see you on Thursday, I hope, at 11 a.m. And you can always watch the replay if you missed anything, or if you want to go back. Also, we're going to be sending out an email tomorrow to our email newsletter. If you're not already signed up, you can go to our website and you can, we had to eat a snack. Audra and Ezra had to eat a snack because they got so hungry. Sorry. So anyways, if you want to get our newsletter, we're sending it out on a weekly basis, basically to remind people about these workshops, but also we're providing additional writing activities or writing prompts in the meantime. And also just including information about things like our summer camp and our virtual programs. So if you haven't signed up for that already, you can go to our website and you'll see on the menu bar, you'll see a link to sign up for our newsletter. We promise not to start sending you daily emails or anything crazy like that. Again, we're just trying to keep you guys informed about what we're doing and also provide you with some additional writing content. This week's activity is actually a Mad Lib that our new Drexel co-op, Bella, created. And it's a fun little activity, and you can always go back and make your own with the Wacky Wordplay Workshop, which we did a few weeks ago. I played this particular Mad Lib style story with my niece and nephews yesterday over Zoom, and they really enjoyed it so much that they immediately wanted to play more. So I now either have to create, or I think I'm going to teach them how to create their own Mad Libs. Anyways, thank you so much. It was so good seeing all of you again. And I appreciate you guys coming. Bye.